Hey y'all, it's your girl Jada Rayne and welcome back to another episode of No Brew Shit. Today I'm sipping on a cinnamon bun latte and I got this mug that my friend got me for Christmas, so check the merch. Today we're talking about self-love and what that journey kind of looks like. I think it's really important to not only talk about your self-love journey when it comes to physicality, but also how you feel about yourself mentally and emotionally. And so I have on a couple of lovely guests today, and you already know Jessica, but I'm gonna make her introduce herself again. And you guys just introduce who you are and why you guys are interested in this topic.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jessica Smith, majors community health, and nutrition science. I'm a senior here, last semester, woo woo. Mm-hmm. And I like this topic because, I feel like everyone goes through this, self-love journey throughout their whole life. It might be in different perspectives, but I think that everyone has something good and inspirational to give to this topic.
Hey everyone, my name is Alexis Beverly. I study psychology and French. I'm also an aspiring professional dancer, so maybe one day you'll see me on the stage. This topic is just important to me because I'm on my journey right now. It's continuous, and I was just really happy to be invited here.
Yes, thank you for coming.
Oh, I'm Janai. I'm a senior studying public relations. I'm from Indianapolis, Indiana. Really interested in this because I live to share my story with others and also to try to empower and help young women to do the same, to grow, to prosper. I feel like that's something that I've done here at Indiana University and I had the opportunity to do. But I had to figure it out on my own. So if I could give someone else the tools to make it a little easier to, go along that route, I'm all for it.
All right, well, we're gonna hop right in. So I feel like a lot of that self-love confidence journey does start in your youth a little bit. And so I wanted to ask you guys, were you ever insecure at some point in your youth? And when I say youth, it could be 13, like middle school age, because I feel like that's where you kind of see that a lot. But it could be a little younger. It's kind of just depending on, where you guys felt like that came up. Where did you see a lack of self-confidence and self-love initially?
I say I saw it the most in my weight.
Okay.
Because I was always, grew up around white girls.
Okay.
Nothing against white girls, but they're built different. So like they have like a different shape. They're smaller. Me, I have a broader base. I'm thicker. So for a long time, I grew up thinking that I was fat. And it wasn't until I moved in a more diverse environment when I'm like, okay, you're not fat. You're just thick. Like you're normal. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, and I used to really be self-conscious and insecure about that, and from like a very young age. So
what age do you feel like that started? And do you feel like it was because other people said things to you, like those girls that you were talking about? Or you feel like it was just this is just how I feel about myself?
No, I feel like, I wouldn't notice, but like when I was like young, we all had they call it baby weight, baby fat. So it was like, okay, well, it's just baby fat. It was, because as soon as I started developing and stuff, it all went away. But it was more so of like, it was a hidden insecurity. So only something that I was self-conscious about because I'm comparing myself to other women and how they look.
Right. I feel that. What about you guys?
I feel like my insecurity it was kind of full circle, like how I looked, skin tone wise, my weight, the way that I held myself. I still, even though I always presented myself as like knowledgeable and having wisdom even at a young age, I still felt like that was kind of a bad thing because everyone around me was able to do things that I just didn't feel comfortable with, or it would be certain things that people would do and I'd be like, well, why can't I be that carefree? You know what I'm saying?
Right, yeah.
And then my weight was actually like as soon as I got in school, like preschool, kindergarten, just because I was always a chunky person. And everyone around me, no matter, that has traveled with me until probably my sophomore year of college. That's always followed me. All of my friend groups, everyone is always smaller than me.
Same.
I'm always the biggest person. And I was just like, I mean, not saying like I need hella thick girls come and be with me. Like, that's not what I'm saying, but just comparative, like, you know, seeing that I'm always the biggest person, or everyone always calls me mom. Like, I'm always the oldest person. And even though that might be good at times, because I might be able to help guide somebody, that still is kind of backfire. Like, they don't want to share things with me.
And you ain't nobody's mama.
Yeah, I'm not nobody's mama.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that it's been a long journey of different things that made me insecure. But the main thing was really my weight, and seeing that like in every friend group or every family member is always smaller than me. Yeah.
And for a long time, because I kind of grew into, I mean, I gained most of my weight senior year of high school due to like depression, traumatic experience.
Yeah.
So I went from like a 14 to like 18. And that was, woo, like, it was a big jump for me. So I was still like super insecure about that, and my hurts were like, it followed me into college. So I could relate to what you were saying.
Yeah.
But sophomore year was my turnaround too, because I noticed I would wear very like just clothes that weren't cute, because I didn't think that they had cute clothes in my size. But it wasn't until my friend was like,
Yeah, they do.
Janai, they have clothes in your size. And so she kind of helped me like turn it around and like help me start dressing better and investing in myself. I would just put aside $30 to go shopping every time we got paid over the summer. Like, and she really helped me like just find confidence in where I'm at right now, and not waiting till I lose this weight or whatever to actually, you know, look. And honestly, didn't start losing weight till recently. So, you know, why wait all of that time when you can look good now in your own skin, honey? Like, you don't need.
I think that's really important. I'm glad that she told you that, because so many times it's like, if you do this, if you get this done, then you'll look the way that you want to look, or you'll be attractive. But I think it's such a blessing to be able to pour into yourself in the sense that I'm gonna love where I'm at right now, like you said, and be okay with that. Because I feel like if you don't love yourself in the state that you're in now, just because you make those changes doesn't really change what's going on internally. So I'm glad that you said that. I kind of want to move to you and see what that experience like was for you and your youth. No, you have it fine.
Yeah. I think I have a slightly different story. Mine started off with my hair. I'm bald now, so I actually was that kid that was still in 7th grade with beads, and I had people bullying me. My teachers would make fun of me. You make too much noise. Coming home, the teachers. You think like you're supposed to be the one stopping this shit.
Right.
Anyways, that didn't happen, and I would go home to my mom and like tell her, and my mom's like, this is making you stronger, but really she didn't see that it was making me a lot weaker, because I was like, I'm a loner. I'm like a lonely star. That's what I call myself. And I'm comfortable with that, but like constantly getting beat up upon because I can't get my perm yet, because I haven't. My mom had this rule where we all had to start our cycle. That was when you were a woman. That's when you could change your hair and you started developing. And so I was ready for that, even so much like I faked having my first period. Like, I know that sounds so silly, but I wanted like a perm because that's how bad it had gotten. And then you pair that on the fact that I was like starting to explore my sexuality. And I remember the first girl that I liked, I didn't know, like, she was a white girl. And I'm like, this little brown girl, beads, like, she's not gonna like me. And so that's where it started, me thinking that I didn't look a certain way that was what other people wanted from me. And that further was just escalated by my father. I like to read, and so one day I asked him to take me to a bookstore, and he snatched a book away from me. Told me that he wanted me to be a triple threat, basically beauty, body, and brains. And that just made me feel like sexualized. And it's like coming from my father, and I have a unique relationship with my father anyways. But that was just a lot just going on, my hair, my sexuality, and then like not having a very stable relationship with a like man in my life. So it was just a lot of like, who am I? Like, what's my identity? And honestly, I'm still figuring that out now. So it started at a young age that I didn't know who I was, and I spent several years hiding who I was. And not accepting it until I came here. So definitely I would say college is Like, although it took so long, it's okay, because here I was able to be free and not have people bullying me because of my hair, because now I don't even have any hair. Like, that didn't even matter at the time. Like, I got my perm and I chopped it off 4 years later. Like, I didn't even need it. And like, separation was just what I needed from my parents, although that sounds like absurd. Like, those are the two people supposed to be in your life. I'm like, no, the people that want to be in my life will accept me and encourage me to grow, and now I have a different village. So
Thank you. I like that. And your hair is cute, by the way.
Thank you. Very cute.
You know, I gotta
get used to it.
Making me want to cut my hair off. Well, you know, this is weird, but
do whatever makes you comfortable. Do whatever
I think for
makes you
me,
comfortable.
I feel like my self-love journey didn't start until I got to college, and even now I'm figuring out that I wasn't quite where I thought I was. When I was about 13, middle school, I think even before that, very insecure. I used to, like, when I had to public speak, I'd be shaking in front of my whole class. Like, I would just be visibly shaking. But a lot of my insecurity issues did stem from, you know, visually how I was, you know, on an appearance level. Part of my, you know, lack of self-confidence came from that appearance. But then I also feel like another aspect of that is not being comfortable in who I was as a person. I didn't always fit in with the crowd. I like things that other kids didn't like, or specifically like other things that black kids didn't like, things I wasn't supposed to like. So I think it made me very uncomfortable in expressing who I was as a person, always trying to fit in and mold myself. So I think, I feel like I even do that now while I'm here, which is why I feel like I'm still trying to discover who I am. That kind of brings me into my next question for you guys. How do you feel like, or when do you feel like that transition happened for you? Where you're like, you know what, I'm gonna embark on trying to better myself and how I feel about myself. Where did that kind of like switch happen?
I'd say I always think about this and talk about it a lot. For me, my spirituality, my faith is very important to me. And I knew that is something that I had to get in alignment with before I could try to do anything on the outside. So I guess wanting to change so much on the outside really encouraged me to change my heart and how I feel about myself, or who I am as a person. I was really insecure about being really outgoing. I mean, I know y'all probably wouldn't, y'all know me and probably wouldn't tell, but people used to clown me for that here. Like, you're too loud, you're too da-da-da, you're too da-da-da. And I used to be very self-conscious about that. Like, just secretly self-conscious, and wouldn't say, there was a point in time I wouldn't say everything I needed to say, but redefining what that meant for me. And when I redefined what that meant for me, it was like I was untouchable, because I was free. Yes, it's a great term, because now I get to really live out who I am as a person. And so that's when it comes to when I was coming up on sophomore year. I realized, like, hey, I'm changing, but my outside isn't changing. I'm staying the same. And that's when, you know, I met my friend. She told me, like, hey, let's go shopping. Let me help you put things together, because she always would look super duper nice. And I just felt like a front. And so she just taught me how to be very, very, very intentional on what's on the outside. But what really started for me was checking here.
And internal work.
And then I was able to see clear enough that, hey, I'm confident enough with myself and who I am and my character, who I am as a person, that now I can move into trying to develop and change my appearance.
Right. I think that's really important. A lot of people think if they can create this like image of what they look like, everything will be fine, but they really don't think about what's inside. And so I think where it started for me was freshman year. I came in, I started dancing in dance company, and we were doing some weird things. I was like, I didn't know parts of my body could move this way, like for real. And like in dance, there's no like feminine, masculine. So like I used to cheer, I dance, I have like a really muscly body. So sometimes I'm like, I look super duper manly. Like I hated it. And so with having ProGrow like talking to me and pushing me, like, you know, you can actually be a professional dancer. Like dance isn't just we get up on the stage and we like kick our legs up. It's really like a process of going through with like self. So for myself, being with Professor Rosa and now Baba Stafford, they have a lot of knowledge that they pour into us. But one of the first things that Baba Stafford told us was be unapologetic.
Yes.
I had no clue what that meant until I'm sitting in class, and we were actually working on a piece called Masculinities, where we take these hyper femme personas or super masculine personas, and that fit me, and I was really able to like be really masculine. And this was also a time I was coming out to more people, and so really fragile, and being in a space where he told me that you're free, like you can be this queer black girl, be whatever you want to be into dance, be into psychology, like really meta, you know, where I'm going out into society, I'm supposed to be, you know, hip hop dancer, wear your big hoops, earrings, you know, long weaves, and that just didn't fit with me. I was doing all of that, I was wearing the sew-ins, but I was like, I'm not happy, and I know y'all can see it. I can't go into spaces. I need a safe room on campus. And I just wasn't happy. And I think I got to a point where I was just sick and tired of being sick and tired. So I really took his motto of being unapologetic. And this is actually my junior year. I did Miss Black and Gold. And
I remember that.
I was not going to do it. Me and Jessica met that day and went to the call out. I like conned her into going because I didn't want to go by myself. And I didn't expect to get the interview. I'm late to the interview. I'm like crying. I'm anxious. Like I have high anxiety. So going to the meeting, I was actually leaving and they saw me and they were like, "Are you looking for us?" I'm like, "Well, I wasn't gonna interview, but like I'm here now." And it wasn't even like what I expected. Like we just had a conversation about music, and next thing I know, I'm in this pageant. And so then I developed like this mantra: do one thing a day that scares you. And that really pushed me to like do some shit I was uncomfortable with. But in turn, I grew a lot and I poured into myself. And I still have really bad days because I also have depression. See, I'm sharing a lot right here, but like I really am an open book because like you, I really like want people to know my story because I don't want anyone to go through what I went through. And so just like really being unapologetic, finding things that scare me each day was what was able to get me to a better place. To now I'm like, I can recognize when I'm doing like having self-destructive behavior or I'm being down on myself. Like I'm not giving myself leeway, you know?
What about you? Do you feel like there was a transition for you?
Sophomore year was the beginning of my transition, where it was more physicality that I was honing in on. What people have always told me, which I didn't even like really realize, is that I always gave the presentation of confidence. And I didn't really see that in myself at all. So I already had the confidence on the outside taken care of. That wasn't something that I needed to work on. I needed to work on what I felt inside for myself. So for physicality, I grew to just teach myself that I'm beautiful at any time. I felt that I was the most beautiful when I like dressed up and had to put on lipstick.
Talk about it.
I mean, I didn't even wear makeup like that, but I was really sitting there like beating myself up like, why haven't I started trying to? Because I feel like I would make myself feel better. I had to realize if I wear some sweatpants and a t-shirt, I'm still fine as fuck. Like that was just something that my parents instilled that into me, but at the same time, it was a barrier. It was like, you say that, but you can't really see it. You're saying that because you're my parents. I didn't believe that in myself. So I started off doing that, just realizing look at me. Come on now. It's for myself. You can have your friends hype you up. You can have anybody hype you up. But if you don't feel that way about yourself, that's not going to matter. So I started that way. And then going into junior year, I realized I liked helping people. I mean, I always knew that I love helping people. That's why I'm community health. Helping people stay healthy. And also mentally, holistically, I like to have people be at a great well-being. So I like helping people. All of my friends, I help everybody, but I never really took that for myself. So junior year, it was a very, very depressing time where like literally everyone around me was going through it, and I tried to be that person for everyone. And I mean, I went through like 3 deaths and never really paid attention to that at all.
Right.
Tried to keep that in the back of my head and just help others. But I had to take time for myself. And like, I've given you what I can help you guys with, but you guys got to do your own thing, and I need to do mine. So that's where I kind of became like unapologetic.
Right.
I got to take time for myself. And it was very difficult because sometimes I lost friends, sometimes they understood, but at the same time, throughout time, you turn into being besties to being cordial for a lot of different friendships back at home. And all of that was kind of piling on me, but I still had to teach myself, be unapologetic, because these people are going to be here if they want to be, but you have to take time for yourself.
Right.
So being unapologetic, realizing that I'm beautiful no matter what, and not comparing myself to others, whether they're thinking they're beautiful or not, me not putting them on a pedestal and putting myself back. I need to be on the pedestal. That's what helped me.
You deserve to be on the pedestal.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I feel like for me, with the turning point of how I was going to embark on self-love, for one, I had to quit putting so much stake in things that weren't important, especially on the surface of what I look like. I felt like, for me, where I pull a lot of confidence from is the work that I do, the content that I'm producing, what I'm putting out there to, like you said, help other people, but also that kind of stuff makes me feel good, to be able to do the kind of stuff that I do. So I started looking at what skill sets do I admire about myself, not what does somebody think about what I look, or, because I mean, at the end of the day, that doesn't really matter. I think another thing that was important for my confidence is not leaning on the perceptions of others and how other people view me, not only externally, but also how people perceive me as a person. That's something I feel like I've struggled with right now in the season of life that I'm in. I feel like, especially when you're losing people, it makes you self-reflect sometimes, I feel like, in a negative way. I think it's important to like acknowledge your toxic traits and be accountability for the things that you do, but I feel like sometimes I internalize those negative emotions so much, or those negative perceptions, I start letting that build my character. Like I seen on, I don't know, on Twitter, you know, people always say, you're always the villain in somebody else's story. I feel like villain is such a strong word, you know what I mean? Because I feel like everybody has their quirks, everybody has their own feelings, but I feel like sometimes I assign that villain role to myself. So that's been something that I've been trying to get out of. And so that question that I have for you guys is, you know, how do you take accountability for your actions, but at the same time, you know, not beat yourself up about, you know, your flaws, I guess?
I think for me, I feel like I'm answering too quickly because everybody's thinking. Okay, so I feel like for me, you said accountability.
Yeah.
My whole entire life, I've always been a very self-reflective person.
Same.
Very self-reflective. Like, to the point it was like turning perfectionistic. But again, about the redefining, I had to redefine the self-reflection and think about it in a different way, from a different perspective, to where it was helping me and not hurting me. So what I did was, I'm usually a person who is always in somebody's business. I will hold, if we're friends, you're giving me the permission to hold you accountable. So with that being said, I have to eat my own medicine and make sure that when somebody's holding me accountable, I'm able to take it and I don't get offended, which usually I never really had an issue with that. It was more so of other people having an issue with being held accountable. Sometimes I didn't realize that I hurt people's feelings. And I would want you to tell me, hey, you hurt my feelings. I did not like the way that you said that. You're coming off kind of strong. And I'm, you know, really sensitive. Could you please say that in a different way, in a different tone, so that I'm able to receive it? Well, I'm sorry, I didn't realize I was coming off that way, like, but thank you so much for telling me. When we don't tell people, and let's not talk about let's talk about myself. When people would not tell me what was going on, it would make me upset. Because you know that this is something that's not a good characteristic. You know that because of this thing that I have that is attached to me, I'm not growing, but you're allowing it to happen. That's not okay.
You're allowing allowing it to hurt you, and you're not allowing me to help. You know what I'm saying?
Or even like you're allowing it to hold you back.
And
But exactly. But Jessica, you're my friend. You see something in me, I would expect you to be like, girl, you need to check this and that, because or you see me talking to somebody crazy, I would expect you as my friend to be like, hey, bro, the way that you just said that to her or said that to them was really rude.
But you know how that's masked sometimes?
That's
just how I am.
Oh,
that's just the way
that was me too. I had that bad.
I did too.
Oh, that's just how I am. I don't know what else to do.
Yeah.
And it was to the point like, Janai, check yourself, baby. Check yourself.
Because everyone has feelings.
Yep. I agree. I think
that's me too.
Kind of, because that sensitive part really stuck with me. That was something that I started viewing as a flaw, and it's something that was wrong with me, especially now. Like I feel like I said, in the season that I'm in, being sensitive is something that's a very insecure topic for me. It makes me feel kind of low about myself because, you know, we live in a society where it's like, don't get upset about things. Don't express yourself about things, and if you're expressing yourself too much, then you're always getting upset about something.
Yeah, then you're angry.
Exactly.
Always angry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree. That was kind of something that I had to let people know. Once, you know, if I feel like we're about to, you know, get close, I would say, well, if there is something that bothers you, let me know immediately. Please check me immediately.
But that's you.
Yeah. Please check me immediately, because I might not know if I'm hurting your feelings.
Yeah.
Because of who I am, I don't know that I'm hurting your feelings.
Yeah.
So check me immediately. Don't wait, you know, 3 months later and say, well, you remember when you did this? Or don't let things build up and then go off on me because I didn't know. And not saying that that's a flaw on their end. I'm just saying, you know, that's a flaw on my end, that I'm not aware that I'm hurting your feelings. Just let me know.
I think that's where you have to be comfortable, with yourself and accepting who you are. That's where that comes from.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because if you are a sensitive person, like you said, you want that person to communicate to you, well, this is hurting my feelings. But if you're not comfortable admitting that you're that type of person and learning to love yourself through that, then it can be difficult to have those conversations with people.
Yeah.
It can be very difficult to ask for what you need if you really don't know what you need or won't accept what you need from other people.
Yeah. At the same time, I feel that when it comes to like friendships, I feel like if they're a friend, they should be open to letting you know, like, that you should be able to have that conversation with them. I feel like, I feel like you should be able to tell them if there's a problem, feel comfortable, you know, once you're ready, feel comfortable to let me know. But I feel like some people don't want to let people know. People either don't want to have any conversation at all or want to have a blow up to where everybody just dissipates.
But confrontation is not always bad. Sometimes
confrontations are wonderful.
Right. Because you learn so much about yourself.
Yeah.
Some things you just ain't gonna see for yourself.
And that helps you grow and
Yes.
be more confident in yourself.
As bad as it sounds, like the way that I feel about myself and who I am as a person, like I said, sometimes it is premeditated on what other people say. If enough people say one bad thing about me, I'm starting to be like, dang, maybe they're right. I need to do this. I need to change that. I need to, not speak like this, not say it like this. I start just putting all this negativity on myself, and as dramatic as it might seem, it weighs me down a little bit because nobody wants to be seen as somebody that's inherently bad. So I think sometimes you seek that external validation for people to say, you know what, you're a good person.
Yeah. But here's what I taught my girls in Blossom, is that you don't need emotional validation. So we always talk about like a validation for what we do, right? But we never talk about emotional validation. So Jada, if we experienced the same situation, I took it negatively, but you took it a whole nother way. But you expressed to me how you took it, but it was totally different. But then when I expressed to you how I took it, you wanted to change your mind about how you took it because I didn't agree.
Yeah.
You wouldn't need my emotional validation because you feel how you feel and that is okay.
The world will make you feel like it's
yes, but that's just standing firm and putting your boots in the ground to know I feel how I feel and that is okay.
And sometimes being able to, you know, show those feelings is a form of confidence as well, to be able to stand on how you feel, because that's not always easy.
Yeah.
You look like you was about to say something.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No,
Go
I'm
ahead.
just thinking, we've just been talking, and this entire time I just think about like myself, people that aren't like upfront,
Yeah.
who don't know how to set boundaries. Yes, we know it's important in any type of relationship to set boundaries before you start, but some people just don't know how to do that. For myself, I minimize. So I grew up thinking, okay, I'll just minimize. You don't want me to do that? Okay, I won't do it.
Yeah.
When it was hurting me in turn, and I think I did it for so long because it didn't really hurt. You know, I don't really need to do it. Being in relationships, he doesn't want me to do that.
I don't have to.
Yeah, you know, I'll just miss out on this event. Although this could have been a great networking event for me.
Right.
Or I made you mad. I'm so sorry. Although I didn't do anything wrong, but you're mad. I'm sorry. Like, I apologize. And I get you. It's like getting to a point where it's like, I'm not going to take this anymore. But for people that are so used to self-minimizing, like, how do you like get into that work?
point.
I'm still like figuring it out.
Yeah.
Because
Pinpointing.
like, it literally has taken like my professors being like, you don't have to say sorry. Like, be steadfast, like firm. I couldn't make it to rehearsal. I can't double book myself in like that professional setting, like not apologizing, like I can't be here, I'm gonna be late, and you have to be okay with that. And they will be okay, and I think it's knowing that people will be okay. But like you said, when you think, oh, they're mad, or like I didn't do something that they wanted, or what they said just is, that's not like all that it has to chop up to be, you know?
I think it's important to operate underneath selfishness. I think we always add like a negative connotation to the word selfish. Sometimes I think there's a version of positive selfishness that you can try to enact within your life. I mean, my dad would always tell me, he was like, a lot of people are going to do things to look out for themselves. So if you're not looking out for you, who else is looking out for you? Nobody. Somebody got to take care of you.
Right.
So I think with that, going into it with that mindset is how you you got to stop minimizing your own problems, you know what I mean? And be conscious of, if this is bothering me, this is what I need to do for me. Regardless of what anybody else is going to think about it or what they're going to say about it, who's taking care of you?
But another thing, to take it a little bit deeper, and this is what I want to ask you, Alexis.
Yeah.
Do you matter? Do you feel like you matter?
When
and
people ask me that,
not
get
even
it
like
right there.
physically, right? But do you matter physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally? Do you matter? And really assessing, am I worthy? Because if you believe that you're worthy, like, your entire perspective will change, and it will be easier to set boundaries.
Coming from a past of just like having mental illnesses and how people look at that and like you're weak, it made me feel like I wasn't worth it. I literally have had days where I'm like, why was I born? Like, why did you put me here if you don't want to help me? And I don't have like a family to support on. Like, I literally have felt alone. So when people ask me that now, I know I have grown because I know I have worth now, but I can say there was a point in time where I felt like I didn't have worth. And that's okay. And I'm forgiving myself for all the things that I did that I was telling myself, you're not worthy. For all the times I didn't just wake up and, you know, beat my face, put on those nice clothes. There were literally days where I was like, I'm gonna just stay here because like, I don't want to be seen. I've definitely said that to myself. I don't want to be seen today. But because as a dancer, that's all I am. I'm a performer. And so that really has helped me in so many ways. Just gain confidence in being, okay, I deserve to be seen. And so that's actually what I've been saying to myself these past couple months, is that I deserve to be seen and I can remain humble. You know, I'm not telling anyone I'm better than them, because that was my thing. I don't want anyone to think that I'm stuck up, angry, selfish, any of that. But like you said, there's good moments of selfishness, and you can also be seen, you can be heard, you can give to people and also not take away.
Yeah. One question that I had, because you said, are you worthy? I think sometimes it's difficult though to assess, because if you've been operating underneath this mindset of I'm not worthy, how do you change that around? You know what I mean?
Affirmations.
Yeah.
You have to constantly affirm.
Yeah.
What? Okay, so give you a good example. Take a piece of paper, split it in half, write down the good things that you think about yourself, and write down the negative things that you think about yourself. Even if the negative things that you're writing down is way more than the good things, tear the piece of paper in half, throw away the negative, and focus on the good side. And write down those affirmations, even if it's Post-its. If you have a hard time thinking you're beautiful, I am beautiful. Put it on the mirror so that you have something to look at every day. Recite it every day. It's really changing your mindset into thinking, like, to getting out of that bad thinking. And even if sometimes we have to force ourselves until we start to believe it. We say it until we start to believe it. Have you ever heard of the laws of attraction? Same type of ordeal. When you want something, you say, I want this, over and over and over again. I think about that over and over and over again. I draw pictures of it. I foster on it, and it starts to manifest itself. Sometimes we have to do that with our self-esteem. Continuously reciting, I am beautiful, I am worthy, I am fearfully and wonderfully made. And continuously going, I am more than a conqueror. Continuously going over those things. I can do all things. And continuously saying those things to yourself until you believe them.
Yeah, I feel that. I feel like one way that I kind of pour into myself, so my therapist told me I have a gratitude journal, and I'm supposed to wake up in the morning and write something that I'm grateful for, but not like, usually you say my family, my friends, this, that. I'm grateful I got a house or a car. It's grateful for something you did today or something that has to do with you, which has been really kind of groundbreaking for me because it's making me focus on the little things. Like, so often we're grateful for things for ourselves, but we do these big accomplishments.
Yes, girl.
But being able to just write, I got up today.
Yes.
I'm grateful I got up today
And
and
be
combed my
genuinely
hair.
grateful.
Yeah, I got up. So that's been groundbreaking. And so I kind of want to ask you guys, how else, you said positive affirmations and then the gratitude journal, how do you pour into yourself? What are ways that you guys personally pour into yourself?
Personally, I always think about the things that I'm capable of doing that I never thought I was really able to do, like event planning. Who would have thought randomly, like, I helped my mom plan an event, like a destination type of, get together for people all around the world. I just did that in summertime. Like, I never would have thought I'd be able to do that. I was able to help orchestrate and execute a wedding on Sunday within like a couple of weeks. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's things like that. And I'm able to make other people happy, but still be able to know that I have that, I have that to be able to put under my belt. And I have fought. Y'all don't know. I have fought to get to this point in college.
Girl, yes.
I've had people tell me, I don't think you should do this anymore. You should probably just go back home. Like, academic advisors telling me that.
Yep.
And you're the person that's supposed to believe in me, but now I'm able to fight and be able to get to this point where I'm saying, I'm walking across that stage regardless.
Right.
I said that sophomore year. I said, I'm walking across the stage no matter what you think.
And you are.
And I am. Thank you. But yeah, just being able to look back and say, like, this is what I've been able to do in 4 years, kind of by myself. I was never really like 100% a homebody, but I'm not really like, out there like that, but I wasn't really a homebody like freshman year. People would always go back home and be with their family. They were never able to just be alone. I have that under my belt, being able to be alone, be confident in myself that I've got this.
Yes.
That's something that a lot of people are not able to do, and I'm able to say,
I'm good by myself.
I'm good by myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something I'm able to look back and be able to enjoy my confidence in that.
How do you pour into yourself?
I like to read FMLs. No, no, serious. I love to read FMLs because it's just comedy. I know that there's other people out there that are going through shit, just like having a fucked up day. Yeah. Also, I know my intentions. I love to travel. So recently I've been blessed to travel and dance and audition. Yes. And that has been wonderful. The feeling of being in the audition. Okay, so my last audition was in Philly. Okay. And there were about 30 companies in front of me, and most of them are black dance companies. And I'm around all these black dancers, and that feeling, I can't explain. I was crying in the audition. I was like, I don't think y'all understand how badly I want this. And going into it, like, I have intentions. I know only things that are like constant are change and death. And so I've dealt with a lot of death, and they are like my intentions. So Levante, Kimani, Mama Yvette, all of these people I think about, and that's what keeps me going, is that I was blessed. It could have been me. Yeah. I could have been gone. and I was not. Someone above, God, Oshun, whatever you believe in, someone was looking over us, and we are still here because people die every day. They don't wake up, and we are blessed too. And so that's how I had to start thinking, like, I know you don't want to get out of bed today, Alexis. Read a little FML, laugh a little bit, Might have to take some neurotropics. I don't know if y'all know what those are, but I really, I had to find something, like a regimen to get me up and just get me going. So I think about them 3 every day, really every day I think about them. And some days I'm okay with, I'm not going to smile today, or I'm going to be honest when people ask me, are you having a good day today? I'm not having a good day, but that's okay. And knowing that it's okay, because change is constant and I'm constantly growing. We are literally in an environment where we are put in opportunities and meant to grow. So that's okay to be where you are, because I feel like we focus so much on where we're going to be in 5 years, 10 years, but where are you now?
Right now.
And let yourself be in that moment, because we're going to be out of here. It's gonna go like that. It's went like that, and you
never know.
Yeah, and you can look back like, where was I? I've had moments like that. I'm like, what was I doing my freshman year? Why? Because I was in something that I didn't even understand. But now like I said, I forgave myself for where I was and found new intentions, new wants, new needs in people that want to be around me. And so that's how I move forward. Yeah.
To kind of close out, I do have it's 1.5 question. I'll make it one. So we've talked a lot about that process and what that looks like, but as we've said, this is an ever-changing process, and having confidence, self-love, self-growth, pouring into yourself. What do you do when you regress and you find yourself going backwards? And then, how do you maintain where you're at? As I'll put it into one question like that. I gotta think too, because I'm like, it's my question. And I'm like, dang, how I want to answer.
So when you regress, what do you do? And then how to maintain?
Yep. So the progress you've made so far.
Grace. Grace. That's all I can say. Give yourself grace. No one's perfect. This life is not perfection, but it's about progression, like you said. So give yourself grace to know that, maybe this is a bad day, but I'm not going to stay there. Just like, I'll give you a clean example. This past Monday, woke up, didn't go to class, plans on staying in the bed all day because I was so down and affected by this situation, right? By this past trauma that I was talking about earlier. And it just hit me on Monday. And there was a word that my grandma randomly texted me last week that did not resonate. But I'm like, I need something to get me up out of this bed. So I go back to her text message. I read it. I said, this was for today, and turned my entire day around. So when you regress, figure out what you need and figure out who can give you what you need. It could be a person. It could be maybe watching something on TV and something clicks. It could be looking on social media, seeing something written down and it clicks. But give yourself, figure out what you need in that moment, and then, like I said, laws of attraction, ask for it and it will come to you, because I asked for it. Just put it out there. And she came up, and I'm like, she sent me something that I didn't understand. But that day, I understood it. And I said, you know what? I'm tacking the day. I'm doing my homework. I'm going to go meet with this person today. I was going to cancel. I'm going to meet this person today. I'm going to continue today. No, did I go to class? Yes, I missed out on class, but okay, cool, whatever. It's not the end of the world. Keep going with your day. Had a marvelous day. Marvelous.
What about you guys?
Of course, I always know that there are going to be bad days, and there are going to be fantastic days, and there's going to be days that's just, we just chilling. But, so I've always, ever since I was I would say 9, I've always had my belief that the Most High does everything. God is in control of everything that is happening on this plot of dirt. He's in charge of the good things and the bad things. It's not a test. He just wants that to happen. And you have to go through it regardless. Because if it wasn't that, if you were in charge of everything, my great grandmother wouldn't have passed. My grandmother wouldn't have passed. Nobody in my life would have passed. You know what I'm saying? So I just know the Most High, He puts these different obstacles in my life, and He's gonna figure out a way to open the door for me to get around that. Mm-hmm. But I have to just keep going. And this day might be a really fucked up day. Yeah. But the Most High did it. The Most High is going to bring me out of it. Tomorrow it might be a better day. Tomorrow it might not. But in due time, the Most High will give me the strength that I need to get to the next level. Mm-hmm. So that's how I progress. I just keep going. And whenever the Most High is ready, He will allow me to progress.
I agree with you. I just recently watched a TED Talk about a month ago. Can't remember the doctor's name, but the topic was turn, learn, and move forward. Mm-hmm. So when you're faced with a problem, turn away from it, learn from it, and move forward. Because if you constantly just keep focusing on that problem, the only thing you're going to get out is more problems. Yeah. If you're not moving forward. So that's kind of what I think. If I'm moving backwards, as I say, if I'm going back into that hole, like I said, I give myself grace or leeway to say, today is just a bad day. I know it's supposed to happen, but what is this telling me? What do I need to change? I know this helped me before. Maybe I can redo it, or that's not helping anymore. Mm-hmm. So just, changing my attitudes or the ways that I'm doing things, and just understanding that you can take each day, each day to get better. Like, this is life, and it's going to be like this forever. I think that's what we're learning now, is that we're really getting into adulthood, and life is no longer just, I'm going to wake up smiling, mom and dad cooking breakfast for me. It's like, no, you're going to wake up, nobody might be there. You might eat, you might not. Yeah. You got $2 in your bank account or 200. Mm-hmm. It just depends on what day it is and what you make of it. Yeah. So,
I think for me, the way, I guess mine's not as spiritually based, but for me, I just kind of look at, this is just a step in the direction that I want to be and where I want to be. So like you said, you don't want to dwell into the future too much, but sometimes that's what keeps me going. Like sometimes thinking about, this is the type of person that I want to be. These are the type of things I want to accomplish. Even when I'm in those depressive states, if I can at least do this today, that's one step closer to the goal. Sometimes that's the only motivating factor when I get that low. So I think, just to kind of close out the show, I just want to thank you guys for coming. It was a great conversation. You guys were wonderful. It was a good conversation, very natural. And y'all. So if you guys want to watch the other episodes of No Brew Shit, go ahead and go to wiux.org, or you can go on the YouTube page. And that's all I got for y'all today. I don't know what the next topic is going to be, so y'all going to have to stay tuned and see you on the next episode. Bye.